the first one was in reference to a podcast. Both are podcast problems. So the first one is in reference to a podcast, and the podcast was removed from our MediaFire host because a group representing a band, a legal group representing a band, filed a copyright infringement claim against us. So both parts 1 and 2 of the podcast were disabled. They obviously did not listen to the podcast. As you pointed out, they probably read the description.
I was going to say, all we did was talk about the band.
Yep.
Not like we played any of their music or claimed any of their work to be ours.
Oh, so this new album, we actually wrote this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, we complimented them, and
it was it was one of the ones where, I mean, you gave them a raving review about how great the album was.
Yep.
So, if anything, they should be goddamn happy about it.
Yeah, we're spreading their name and their album, and their people. I don't know, they just misread the whole...
So we're at work, and all of a sudden, I'm checking our email, and what the fuck is this? Your file's been suspended. A legal group by this name has filed a copyright infringement claim. You have to file the counterclaim, and then they have to analyze the counterclaim and see if you're in the right or the wrong. And it goes through this whole fucking thing. Basically, it took like 2 weeks before that podcast was back up.
Yeah.
And in the end, we didn't get any sort of like, hey, sorry, or whoops, our bad. All we got was, okay, it's cool.
Yeah.
So... in that case, it pissed us off because this group, this legal group, is representing a lot of bands, and if this is what they're doing to prevent piracy, they're not doing a goddamn fucking thing. No. So, that was bad enough. That one was bad. More recently, a couple podcasts ago, now this one, we get the email from Google, who is the owner of the Blogspot domain. So, we basically, we don't work for Google, but they control us. So we get an email from them saying that our post for a certain podcast, which may have referenced a certain curl in a certain burl, that entire podcast and post was removed from our site due to a copyright infringement claim. And they send this cryptic email, which basically says, like, in occurrence of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, this post has been removed due to a copyright infringement claim, and they direct you to this website called Chilling Effects. And it says that you can view the claim against you there, and you can see who made the claim, what they're claiming, and what you need to do to fix it. Go to the site. There's nothing of use there whatsoever. Basically, this is a site that simply posts copyright infringement claims, which seems like a stupid idea in the first place. Go there, can't do anything about it. Email Google, takes a while to get back. Again, a week later, we finally get the email back saying, okay, well, it's, obviously, it's cool, you didn't do anything wrong, put it back up. But again, we now went, a week and a half without our podcast being up.
Yeah.
Which means, we're losing views and people can't view the podcast and whatever else.
Yep.
So, what the fuck, man?
I don't know, man. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Like, out of all the people to be fighting, why would you fight? And I would say that the descriptions of our podcasts are pretty clear. You guys might disagree, I add a lot of words. But let's face it, we've never played any music in any of our podcasts. This is now our 25th podcast, not to mention all of the lists and everything else we've done.
And things like that, yeah.
And we've never played a shred of music. All we do is talk about it. And all we really do is promote bands. We promote bands, we promote albums, talk about shit that we like.
Yep.
And in return, we've been subject to 2 copyright infringement claims from people who obviously didn't take the time to investigate.
Right.
And I think that's what pisses me off the most. If you listen to the podcast and maybe we said something you didn't like or we played music or something, I could see getting this shit. But so now what? Every time somebody posts about us on Facebook, we should file a copyright infringement suit. Like, oh, you mentioned Sorrow Eternal. You're trying to claim it for your own, aren't you?
Apparently, yeah.
It's just fucking ridiculous. And I don't want to harp on this topic for an hour or anything. I could, because it really pisses me off. Because at the end of the email from Google, it was basically, we've removed the content. If you repost it, without removing the offending content, then you will be subject, basically they'll delete our blog, and we would be subject to legal action from the copyright owner. And it basically says, if you don't understand what this means, or if you have more questions, get a lawyer. Are you fucking serious? So there is that thing, you know, we do this site, you know, we work hard on this, but, you know, I don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sued. But if it's like they're hinting, like, by the way, dude, you don't know what you did, but, you know, go fuck yourself. So that's bullshit. It's bullshit, and it just pisses me off.
Yeah.
So, you have anything you want to add to that before we move on?
Yeah, I just feel like there's the companies who are working for these bands and labels and look purposely, their job is to just, you know, search the web and try to find people who are doing illegal stuff with their work. I feel like those guys are sitting at home and or wherever, and they're going through the site, and they see our site and just glance at it. They see the band's name that they are representing, and they go, okay, boom, let me do this. Let me go call the label and let them know that I did a good job. And
high five all around, circle jerk.
Yeah, like they, you know, I could see them thinking like, oh, this is great. I'm such a good worker, and I just stopped someone else from stealing this band's work. But, you know, like we said, instead we were helping them. And
yeah, we're trying. I mean, these are bands that we like.
Yeah.
And I think you had said, you know, when this whole thing came up, that it really looks like all the band did, or all this group did, this legal group, was do a Google search for the name of the band, and we popped up our podcast, because if you do Google searches for some of the stuff, we do pop up in those first couple, you know, results.
And they saw a YouTube video with their name,
that name in it,
and they were like, yep.
And I mean, the problem is that filing these claims is so easy now. It's literally like the click of a button.
Right.
You fill out, you know, your name, the group you represent, what site it is, and all this shit, and all of a sudden you're filing a claim.
And of course, it's a pain in the ass, all the shit that you had to go through.
Yep, the emails you have to send, and you have to file a counterclaim, and then you don't hear back. It's just, it's not a system set up to fight, you know?
Yeah.
And let's face it, if you really wanted to steal music, there are a million blogs that are offering music for free right now.
Yeah.
And I like to think we have some degree of integrity in that we've never offered any music for free that wasn't available for free from the band itself. You know, we had like the new Opeth track up, and we linked the new Mastodon track because those were already put up by the band.
Yeah.
So we didn't do, you know, we're not going to give away anything because we think everybody should support these bands.
And we weren't claiming any of it as our own stuff. You clearly put the band's name.
Yep.
You know what the song came from, their new release single from whatever album.
We're not trying to steal anybody's thunder. And I like, you know, we support a lot of music, and then we buy way too much music. Probably we're spending all of our monies on music. But seriously. So it just, you know, it's sad when these groups, and it looks bad for the band. That's the worst part, is that, you know, this group who was representing in the first case, you know, they're representing this band, and it just looks bad for the band, because it looks like they're screwing their fans in the process, even though they have absolutely nothing to do with it. The lead singer of that band is not sitting next to this guy going, yeah, get those fuckers. You get those sorrow eternal fuckers talking about my band. Yeah, he said it was good. Oh, did he? Fuck him anyway. So it's bullshit, and, you know, the music industry is crumbling. We all know that. And maybe if they focused their efforts on things that mattered, maybe this wouldn't come up.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an issue.
In reference to all of that, I think you guys should follow Randy Blythe on Twitter, because he's been having a lot of in-depth conversations about how the music industry really works and how the money distribution comes out. Mark Hunter from Chimera as well. He's on Twitter as Chimera Mark. And he's another one who's kind of been giving a little insight as to how the labels work and how the bands get paid. And I mean, I hate the band, but Des Fafara from Devil Driver actually had a little interesting quote on Twitter the other day, saying that just because you buy a ticket to the show and buy a t-shirt doesn't mean you can come into my house and rob me. Which is, I mean, that's...
Sounds about right.
You know, I didn't get the quote exactly right, I'm sure, but, you know, that's really it. You know, people justify by saying, like, well, sure, I downloaded the album, but I bought a t-shirt. Like, that's not, you know, it's not like either or.
Doesn't make it okay.
No. So So piracy is still bullshit, but the groups who are preventing it are just making everything worse.
Yeah. So basically, we're saying to just support the bands.
Yeah. Support the bands and don't file infringement claims against us.
Yeah,
ever.
leave us alone.
Just leave us alone. Who the fuck have you been talking to? Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, so on from that, it's the typical things to say here. We urge you to listen to Light and Darkness, right?
Mm-hmm. Which I'm curious if he's run into any issues like this. I mean, I know he runs a radio station.
That's
but I wonder if he comes across any issues or anything like that, because I mean, he plays everything from known to unknown bands, and new and old stuff, and I'm curious, maybe he's come across some issues like that himself.
Never thought to. We should ask him to do an interview with us. He's been running that station himself. I know he posted on Facebook the other day that it's a one-man operation. He does everything himself, from scouting for bands to getting everything ready and set. So should bring him on and see what he has to say about all this nonsense. See if he's had any trouble like that, as you said.
Yeah.
I know actually today his featured band, as of the day we're recording this podcast, is actually Echo Terra.
Oh yeah.
And their new album just released. You can get it if you go to their Facebook page, and I think you should do that because they've been really cool to us, and the album's really good. So I recommend you go pick that up. Land of the Midnight Sun. It's on their Facebook page. It's on Amazon. It's on CD Baby. It's on every goddamn place you could imagine, both MP3 and physical. They said the album artwork is particularly good, so they've been urging people to go with the physical copy, which I ordered mine.
I'm gonna have to get on that.
Make sure you go out and get all these albums we've talked about. Junius, Giant Squid, Iced Earth, Insomnium from last week.
Yep.
So many great releases the last couple weeks. So get the fuck out and buy this shit.
Mastodon.
Yeah. You can get a lot of them in our Amazon store in MP3 format for $6, $7, $8, $9, $10.
Yeah.
And if you want physical copies, order them. Get them on Amazon. Get them from FYE.com, BestBuy.com, Walmart.com. I don't get the fuck I don't care where you get them from, but you should support these bands. And actually, I want to throw out CM Distro, the Century Media store. A lot of times they have really great deals there. October is Black Metal month, so you can get a lot of awesome black metal. It's all on sale, and they got some cool shirts and Christmas cards, black metal Christmas cards.
That's important.
Get on those. But so just spend your week supporting the music, fuckers. And interviews, we got a lot of interviews. Christian from Asfagor. And, one of the interviews really excited about, Cortland Runyon from North Song.
Oh, yeah.
Just sent back his interview, which actually some really good answers in there. We're really excited to unveil that one. And then we got a lot more on the way. We've got actually just spending the night writing questions for some awesome bands. So anyway, another podcast down, and you know what, Murmaider? I have a joke.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. What do you get when you cross an owl with a bungee cord?
I don't know, what?
My ass. Yeah.